gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Democratic View. I'm the hostess. My name is Phyllis Italiano, and with me I have probably the youngest man I have ever interviewed, and his name is Walker Bragman. You've all heard that name Bragman before, and yes, he is the son. And as a young man of this town with lots of ideas, I'd like you to tell us, first of all, your own history.
Well, I grew up in East Hampton. I went to the East Hampton Middle School and John Marshall before that. And growing up here, I thought I had a lot of great opportunities. There was I remember I played youth hockey, I played baseball, I was very involved, and I felt like there was a real community. And as I got older, more and more of my friends and people that I had looked up to and mentors left town. And I didn't, at that point, understand why. But I can tell you that now I do know why. And I think everybody knows the reason. It's because it's too expensive to live here.
Really? How could you say that?
Yeah, there's a Hampton surcharge on everything. But I got involved locally in politics, as you know.
Yes.
Because I think that we can revive the community that's here.
Tell us about your experiences in the village. What happened when you were in high school, and how you saw what you saw.
Well, when changes happen, I guess over time, you don't notice them. So in high school, it was, I saw that, here's a chain clothing store, here's a restaurant that's leaving. But really, the real changes that I noticed happened when I was in college, because I would go for a year and I'd come back in the summertime and I wouldn't recognize half the stores on Newtown Lane or Main Street, and that was very disappointing to me and my friends as well.
And where did you go to college?
I went to Skidmore, and it was fun. It's in Saratoga, good school.
And what did you major in?
Government, which is my school's version of political science. So,
why am I not shocked?
Yeah, I don't think I really ever had a chance. I think this was going to be my path.
And your path from now on is to go?
Well, I'm going to go to law school. I'm not sure where yet. I just finished my applications like last month or the month before, depending on who you talk to. And I've only heard back from one school so far, so I'm kind of hoping that I get good news in the future from the other schools I've applied to.
Well, good luck. We all know that process.
Thank you.
It's right harrowing. Of course, in my day, it wasn't quite as bad because there weren't that many people going to college.
Well, now your college degree is kind of what a high school degree was, and soon your grad school degree will be the same. And it just, because I think the job market out there is so limited. People are retiring later, and that keeps younger people like myself out of the workforce.
That's true, and it is, but it's a good idea not to retire too early because you got to keep yourself active.
Oh, of course.
Involved. So tell us about some of the things that you are interested in. I know you have a big idea about our young people here.
Well, yeah, I think there are three main things that are concerning to young people in this town. And the first one, I think, is jobs. But that's national. But really, in East Hampton, there's housing. That's a big issue, affordable housing. And the last one is youth activities, because the bedrock for any community is its youth. I'm now a part of a group that just started called the New Leaders, East End New Leaders, and we are dedicated to improving in each one of those categories. But our most recent project, or the one that we are kind of kicking off with, is the YMCA. We want to reform the YMCA, or the rec center, as.
Oh, I thought maybe you wanted to change the song. YMCA, no? Okay.
There is nothing wrong with that song.
No, that's true. That's true. So what is it you want to do with the Y?
Well, the YMCA is a great place that offers great programming for kids. But what they don't do so well is manage the space inside the actual building. I don't know if you've been there recently, but
I have.
I've taken some pictures, which I'd like to show everybody.
Go right ahead.
So this is a tour of the YMCA. So you walk in, and this was.
Can you get that closer, please? There you go.
So you walk in, and this was always the gym area, but it's been expanded in recent years, which makes sense because there's a growing community of people who like to exercise, and working out is a good thing. But then you go to the computer lab, and that is more exercise equipment. And clearly their advertising is not geared towards children. Because I don't know many 8th graders who'd like to body pump. And this is upstairs. This is the middle floor, which used to have a television and gaming systems and places for kids to sit. You'd hang out, at least when I was younger. And kids like to hang out there. But now there's just exercise equipment. This is the middle floor kind of hangout area, but there's nothing there. There's an air hockey table, but it is somewhat broken down, which I hear they're getting rid of. In all fairness to the Y, they are getting rid of it. But I don't know what's going to be in its place. But if the 3rd floor is any indication, it will not be for kids. There's more workout equipment on the top floor. And then my last picture is actually 2 kids in the Y, and I think that this picture is the most telling, because these kids do not look like they belong. The YMCA has become a gym. It has monetized our rec center and geared itself towards adults.
Well, if you can't see this picture, let me just show that these 2 children are walking. 2 rather young children are walking in an aisle surrounded by exercise equipment.
And the tragic part is that if you go there during the week, only, I would say, roughly about 20% of that equipment is used.
I'm looking at your pictures. I don't say the most telling fact is that all that equipment is empty. There's nobody there.
But apparently, their business is seasonal. So in the summertime, they get a lot of people who like to go and work out, and that's great. But there are plenty of gyms in East Hampton, and what my group is concerned with, and we have made this concern known to the new director of the YMCA, is the lack of hangout space for kids. The way I see it, kids are in programming. They're in regimented programming from 7 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Many of the kids that I've talked to about this they have sports, which get them out at 5. And then they have homework, which they work on until 10 o'clock at night. So really, I think the need that isn't being met is a space for kids to just be kids. That promotes socialization, and it allows them to unwind in a supervised environment.
It reduces the amount of stress, because the children in our schools today, speaking as an educator, are extremely over-tested and over-programmed, and it is really essential for them to have something like I had growing up, which was called the street. In the Bronx, we just went out and played. We played box ball and flies are up and stickball and whatever you want to call Ringalivio Coca-Colas, or another one great game from the city. I mean, we had a whole bunch of things, and we were kids on the street. And
I think what needs to be remembered is that
and free.
If you want to get the most out of kids, you have to understand that nobody, not a kid, not an adult, can work all the time or do something that's organized all the time. So, I mean, I know personally, after long days, I just like to relax and veg out, and that allows me reflection. And when I was a kid, the rec center was probably my favorite place to go. I know that now, if I were in 8th grade, I probably wouldn't spend my time there, which I think is really upsetting, because we built the rec center with kids in mind.
When was it built?
It was finished in 1998. I know that's when it opened, and it started as a private venture. Parents got involved. The community got involved. My parents got involved. We all chipped in, and when we did that, we made a promise to the kids in our community. And I think when that place became a YMCA, which happened because the town lost a lot of money, and they signed a contract with the Y in 2001, because the first thing to always go are the youth programs. I think we broke that promise. And I think that over the years, the Y has steadily taken away the youth space, and now it's hardly even recognizable anymore. And that is, I think, an indictment of this town's record with its young people.
And the truth of the matter is, you have no idea. I mean, as an educator, which I said before, I will tell you that socialization, that working out games together, playing together, is as important as learning American history. It really is.
Absolutely.
It is very important. It's the way you learn how to deal with people, which makes you successful in the workplace. So it's a very, very important thing, and that the kids of today are very limited in that aspect. I know, I mean, I look at my own grandchildren, and they have very little ability to just be somewhere without their parent hovering over them too.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's really hard.
It's unfortunate, and we are increasingly becoming a society that gets compartmentalized. Kids do this, they do these programs, adults do this, and everybody has their specific roles, but something that we've forgotten is creativity, the value of unbridled creativity. And that, I think, is what a space provides, an outlet for. It lets kids express themselves in ways that you wouldn't do if you're being directed or instructed in something, which, don't get me wrong, programs are great, but programs are only part of helping youth. East Hampton, when I was a kid, we didn't have a problem with heroin. And in the high school now, we have a problem with heroin. And I think I'm not blaming the YMCA, but I will say that the town bears some responsibility for this epidemic, because there is nothing for kids to do in the wintertime. There are no facilities. We just lost our bowling alley.
I know.
And it leads to depression, and it leads to kids doing things in unsafe, unsupervised environments, because that's the only place where they can be kids now, without a strict regimen of what they're supposed to be doing.
You speak more like an educator than you do like a lawyer. But you're absolutely right. And Lord knows this particular winter was a very hard one for everybody. We were all shut-ins too.
That is
I can
true.
imagine kids must have been bored to death being stuck in their houses with really not much to do.
They play video games, but
doing this, that kind of thing, as also limiting as far as your growth intellectually, and as you mentioned, creativity. That is what made America.
Of course.
That's our public education, which led to people having opportunities and to be creative, is what makes us number one in the world. And if we want to remain number one in the world, we got to keep that count going.
We're not number one in the world anymore, and that's
still a bit debatable. You're right. Well, it's threatened. Let's put
and
it
nothing
that way.
but citizens incarcerated. But that and but that's a conversation for another time. But
so this is the first project that this new group is working on.
Yes, we have talked to the director of the YMCA, the new director. I like him, and I think that his programs are great, but we have brought our concerns to him that the space usage is a problem. Unfortunately, I don't think he fully appreciates the need in the way that we do. I think he's getting a lot of pressure from other groups, and he also hasn't been in this town for very long, so I don't think he is fully aware of where the need really lies. When I spoke to him, he brought up senior programming and said that there's been a big push for new senior programs, which is
a need too.
There is,
without a doubt.
But the senior center is being rebuilt. They're redoing the senior center, so that's an upcoming project, and I think that would alleviate some of the need at the YMCA at the rec center for senior programming. The rec was built for kids, and I'd like to see it utilized for kids.
You know, the gentleman that who just won a place on the school board of East Hampton, John Ryan Sr.
Yes.
Big Bad John, he likes to call himself. He actually spoke about the program, which was only really 3 times in a year of the kids in schools from I think it was pre-K to either 5 or 6, where they would go to the Y to have swimming lessons, and that the school board was trying to cut out, and saying we don't have time for that in the school day. And I thought, gee, if I was in school today, to be able to get a swim during the day.
It's great.
Even if it's only 3 times a year, but what a something to look forward to.
It's we are so focused on everything but I think what kids really need, and I think that's disappointing because, as I said, it is the bedrock of any community.
Yes,
it's the youth.
And it's also, you're right. Even if you want to come back here and as an adult after you have gone through college and maybe graduate work and everything, and you want to find a place to live and you want to raise children here, you want to know your children have something to do. That
exactly.
It's a place that they can grow up in a safe environment.
Well, having a real rec center would allow parents who work to have peace of mind that their kids have somewhere to be where they are safe and having fun. Because if your kid is not involved in a program at the Y, your kid has no reason to be there. And if you'd like to kind of test that, just take a walk through Herrick Park after the school day at like 3 o'clock. Go down by the tennis courts and see all of the kids who are there, who have no interest in being involved in any of the programming, who just want to hang out with their friends and be kids. And they're not at the Y. They're outside. They're in the park, and in the wintertime, who knows what they'll be doing?
Yeah, right, sure. I am going to go. I'm going to go there today.
You should. I met them actually. I met a group of them. And I asked them, why aren't you at the YMCA? And they said, because there's nothing for us to do there. It's a gym. And I think, so when I brought this to the East End New leaders, our initial plan was another facility for kids. But then I looked up the YMCA, the dimensions of the building, and I realized that is 22,000 square feet. It is 22,000 square feet that's already built. It was built for kids. Why can't we take that and make it for kids again? What's holding us back?
And doesn't that Y doesn't that mean
Yes.
young? Isn't that what it's supposed to be about?
Yep, that is true.
So you would like to see something happen there where there will be an opportunity for kids to have a place to hang out, any kinds of areas that you would like to?
Yes, actually, in my mind, here's how I see it. Sort of like an updated version of what was there. So the first floor, this area where it was a computer lab, I would like to see that turn back into a sort of computer lab, but with desk space and a place for kids to do their homework after school. The second floor, I would like to see restored. Television, beanbag chairs, a couple video game systems, clipboards with drawing paper and crayons and pencils and stuff. You know, just a floor where kids can kind of do whatever they want to do. And then the top floor, I would like to turn into a sort of kid cafe. They took out the bar, which was there, which I think is unfortunate because we could have turned that into a nice juice bar. And I think just anything other than workout equipment would be great, would be a great step forward.
Well, you certainly have plans. I mean, there's going to have to be some money invested in some of this as well.
Well, of course. But, you know, the thing is that when you talk to the people at the Y, their answer is, we need more space. We could accommodate more kids if we had more classroom space. I think their goal is an extension on the building. But the question that every tax-paying adult in this town needs to ask themselves is, why do you need more space? We are paying you $600,000 a year to run the rec center, which is 22,000 square feet. And you're telling us you need more space to accommodate kids when you are filled to the brim with workout equipment? I don't know why they need more space. I think they need a better usage of the space. And only after I see a better usage of the space would I ever support an expansion.
I'm still back at $600,000 a year.
Yes, that is in the budget.
And it's now just going to a lot of people who...
Yes, and I should say that any profits that the Y takes in that it doesn't use, it gives back. But you know how organizations are. When they make too much money, they'll find something to spend it on. And I think that's evidenced by the 2 exercise bikes on the second floor in an area where, I mean, that just, to me, this says we are squeezing every last drop of space that we can out of this building for our gym.
We also have to, I'm going to have to drop in there sometime on a weekend just to see if it really is filled with people at all those exercise bikes.
I'll tell you, I've been there 4 times
Yes.
in the past, 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. And I have not once seen more than 20% of that gym equipment in use.
Well, that is a testimony. So let me go back to this group. Give us the name again.
The East End New Leaders. We're a new generation of politically active young adults in this town, which I think is somewhat interesting only because people our age typically aren't involved in politics.
Well, and I did go to your first meeting.
Yes, you did.
At Deaconella's, and I will say it was...
Because you're a champ.
Well, it was also thrilling to be there with young people of all colors, which is what I really valued. I really was thrilled with that because I come from, the Bronx, Yonkers.
There's a huge demographic of people in this town that are underserved and underrepresented, and that is the Latino population.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more.
And it would be wonderful to see that demographic mobilize. And
so you meet every Monday?
We meet
every
the first first Monday of every month.
First Monday of every month at
Which-
Deaconella's in Amagansett.
And beer is on us.
And what time is it?
7 p.m. So it's June 1st, 7 p.m. at Deaconella's.
Well, you hear that, folks? That's an invitation. You should come out and become part of this group, which is going to concentrate on some very important issues to help keep our kids as invested in their communities, and also to
help the community sustain. I think the culture in East Hampton has changed greatly since I grew up here. Money in this town runs everything, and it doesn't mean.
You ever see that cell tower in the fire department?
It seems that money doesn't mean anything unless everyone knows you have it. I think it's disappointing. I think it's gratuitous. I have no problem with people making money and no problem with people having money. But what I do have a problem with is the attitude of absolute entitlement that exists out here, where we have money, we don't care about what's here, what was here beforehand, and what's.
Well, young man, you have a lot of very good ideas, and I'm looking forward to managing your career, as I've told you.
Well, it's good, I hope we can serve as kind of the counterweight to, I believe there is one young person on the other side coming up.
You mean Amos Goodman?
The California King, as I call him. He grew up in California, and I think if he thinks he's going to get elected out here, then he's just California dreaming. So.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, thank you very much, Walker. I appreciate your coming. And
thank you very much for having me.
We're off.